Hello everyone, my name is Rickler Melendres and I will be reporting about the gender and politics. Now, let us proceed. Gender and politics is a field of study in political science and gender studies that aims to understand the relationship between people's genders and phenomena in politics. So, when we say gender in politics, it's obvious that every people or different kind of gender has an ability to make a position in politics. So that is why gender equality is a good for everybody here in our society. And also, everybody has the capabilities to do what they want in life, just like to do in politics, to do something job to our community, to our nation, and to help every people who are needy. That is why whatever who you are, or people will discriminate on you because you are a woman or you are a gay, it doesn't matter because whatever you want you can do and you're able to make it. That is why gender equality is good for everybody and has a freedom for them. And now, gender equality in politics, ensuring that the leaderships of public administrations and parliaments reflect the populations they serve, including their gender composition, can contribute to the fairness and responsiveness of these institutions. And also, it requires that women and men of all backgrounds have equal access to such positions and can be subsequently participate in decision making on an equal basis. As what I've said earlier, that gender equality in politics has a big impact here in our politics and political science. That is why public administrations and parliaments reflect their populations they serve and including their gender composition. And everybody has a freedom to do whatever they want. That is why gender equality in political is that good for everybody, is a good look for us. That is why gender equality is the most big impact here in our political. And now, the last part is that why is gender mainstreaming important in politics? It is a strategy that helps governments make better decisions to achieve gender equality, including as they are related to policy and spending decisions. A commitment to gender mainstreaming is one of the most effective ways that governments can support and promote gender equality. So, when we say mainstreaming, is that the process of making something start to be considered normal. So, we all know that in the past few years that women has no power to make in political positions. That is why nowadays we are so happy because there will be a good changes of their lives, that women has a different capabilities, different skills that they can do to themselves. That is why I am so happy that our generation today has a gender equality. And that would be all. Thank you so much.
Inequalities in political power and representation. Women are often underrepresented in formal decision-making structures, including governments, communities, councils, and policy-making institutions. So, inequalities in political power, kadalasan na makulang sa representan ang mga babae kay tungod sa mga nagpatupad sa mga patakaran like kanang mga councilor or unsa pa na diha. Inequality in economic participation and opportunities. In most countries, women and men are distributed differently across sectors. Women are receiving lower wages for similar work, are more likely to be in low-paid jobs and unsecured work, like part-time, temporary, or home-based, and are likely to have less access than men to productive assets such as education skills, property, and credit. So sa laing bansa di ay, kay ang lahi-lahi ang pag-treat nila sa girls o boys, pero ang babae daw kay sila ang mas low og wages or mas gamay ilang sweldo kaysa sa laki. And also, wala sila permanent na work or unsecured work ra ilaha, like kanang mga part-time jobs ra, like temporary ra jud. Unlike sa laki good kay naa sila mga access. That's all.
Patterns of inequalities. Educational attainment. In most countries, women have lower literacy rate, lower level of enrollment in primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Educational attainment. So, in many countries, women have more low educational level than men. They have been less education learnings because men are often enrolled in school since elementary, secondary, and tertiary education level because of the reasons that women are obliged to do the household chores and only to be children. That's why in some countries, women have low level of education. Sexual and domestic violence. Women tend to be more often victims in a form of domestic violence by women's intimate partner, sexual exploitation through trafficking and sex trade, and wars by an enemy army as a weapon of attempted ethnic cleansing, and etc. Sexual and domestic violence. These words may be triggering for some people. So, many people thought that woman is a weak person. They tend to disrespect women because of the physical features they have, and women are generally the victim of rape and sexual harassment. Women are tend to be the victim of domestic violence through physical and hurting the woman by some men. Women are tend to receive bad words and threats from men, unless the woman become the main victim in sexual violence like sexual harassment, and worse, they become the victim of rape. Sadly, women are the main subject of abuse. Differences in legal status and entitlements. There are many instances in which equal rights to personal status, security, land, inheritance, and employment opportunities are denied to women by law or practice. Differences in legal status and entitlements. So, in our country, different status have become there since we were born. It can be denied that those people from high class oftenly discriminate people from the low class because of the reason that those low class are poor and can't level the status of life they have. This kind of inequalities can be happen anywhere, but the best example of this are the people from higher classes that discriminate people from the low class, especially the women, because of the differences of their personal status. It is not new in this generation that gender inequality is still did by some people, especially those people that have riches in life. Important note: achieving greater equality between women and men will require changes at many levels, including changes in attitudes and relationships, changes in institutions and legal frameworks, changes in economic institutions, and changes in political decision-making structures.
The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, also known as the International Bill of Rights of Women, commits signatories to take appropriate measures, including legislation, to ensure women can enjoy their human rights and fundamental freedoms. Countries that ratify or accede to the Convention are legally bound to implement their provisions. The Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women is a human rights treaty that upholds women's reproductive rights and acknowledges cultural and traditional influences on gender roles and family relations. It also guarantees women's rights to acquire, change, or retain their nationality and their children's nationality. Discrimination against women is defined as any distinction, exclusion, or restriction based on sex that impairs women's recognition, enjoyment, or exercise of human rights and fundamental freedoms in various fields. In this area, we can see that the CEDAW organization has taken an appropriate measures to include women to give their rights and freedoms, and also to acquire, to have the freedom to change or retain their nationality and their children's nationality. The Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action is a document from the Fourth World Conference on Women aimed at improving women's rights and promoting their active participation in public and private life. It aims to remove obstacles to women's participation in economic, social, cultural, and political decision-making, recognizing equality as a human rights issue and a condition for social justice. The BFA, or the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, aims to provide women of their rights, and also they have given the women They also promise to remove the obstacles of women, especially in participating in economic, social, cultural, and political decision makings. They also has given or recognized the equality as a human rights issue and a conditional condition for social justice.
So, in the legal and political frameworks for gender equality, we have national, and in national, we have the 1987 Constitution, in which the state recognizes the role of women in nation building and shall ensure the fundamental equality before the law of women and men, in which we can see this article in the Article 2, Section 14 in the 1987 Philippine Constitution, and the Women in Development of Nation Building Act, or the RA 7192, in which it is enacted in 1992. Agencies to review and revise all the regulations to remove gender biases therein, and we can see this in the Section 2. We have also the Magna Carta of Women, or MCW, or also known as the RA 9710. It is being enacted in September 2009, a local counterpart of CEDAW. It is being established, or it is established in the Philippine Commission on Women, or PCW, as the regulatory agency of MCW. It is being identified by CHED as the agency responsible to develop and promote gender curriculum, develop gender-fair instructional materials, ensure that educational institutions implement a capacity-building program on gender, peace, and human rights education for their officials, faculty, and non-teaching staff and personnel. It promotes partnerships between and among players of the educational sector. It encourages advertising agency and other similar institutions to provide free use of space and installation of displays for schools, colleges, and universities for campaigns to end discrimination and violence against women, and also to guarantee that educational institutions provide scholarship programs for marginalized women and girls, set the minimum standards for programs and institutions of higher learning. And it can be seen in the Section 16, Rule 4, MCW IRR. And also, we have the indicators for education sector from the Harmonized Gender and Development Guidelines in 2016. We have the proportion of women to total enrollment, proportion of women to total graduates, distribution of women and men by academic program or discipline, performance of female and male students in board or licensure exam and technical skills certification, or an example for this is the NC2, proportion of women to total number of deans and campus directors, participation of women and men in decision making, gender sensitivity of school curricula, programs, and services, and also the participation of women and men in trainings and seminars.